Hi again everybody, and thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to build a penny stove and I'm going to show you how to do that. When we're done, it's going to look like this one right here. It's going to have holes for the flame jets to come out of. It's going to have fuel holes on the top, and our regulator is a penny. That'll sit in there. That's why it's called a penny stove. This is one that I built a few days ago. It's my first one. There's a couple things I learned from it, so I'm going to show you how to fix the common mistakes if we make those today. But we'll put this to the side and I'll show you the raw ingredients you need. First thing you need are 2 aluminum cans. These are just a couple Diet Cola cans. Make sure they're in good condition. They can't be dented down below, so be careful when you drink them. Also, I rinsed mine out and let them dry for a day or so. You want more than 2 because you're probably going to screw one up. I've got 3 or 4 behind me ready to go in case I mess one of these up. But to build a successful stove, you need 2 aluminum cans. You need some sort of marker to mark this up so you can cut accurately. You need something to cut it with. This is just a razor blade knife. The penny, as we talked about, and the namesake for the stove, the penny stove. And I'm going to use a drill bit in this case to punch holes in it, and I'm going to use my little cordless drill to do that. In the previous version, I used a little punch to put the holes in, and some people even use stick pins. But I'm going to use technology this time to make a nice clean one. So without further ado, let's get to work. Alright, one of the first things we have to do is make markings on our aluminum cans to make an accurate cut. I've got 2 books, different thicknesses. One, my guide to Washington, D.C., near where I live. And another one is the Great American Road Trip. First, I'm going to stack these 2 together and lay my Sharpie on top of it. Make sure we're in the center of the camera still. And I'm just going to take one of the cans and rotate it around. The Sharpie is a nice felt tip, so it'll make a nice mark without scratching too much. And there we go. You see the one aluminum can has a nice black line. That'll be our cut mark. Measuring that, that's probably going to be about 2 inches. We're going to take the smaller of the books out now on the bottom. So we're just going to have the one thick book left, and that'll get us a differential in height. So I'll take the other can and mark it with the Sharpie. Done with the Sharpie for now. Put that aside, and we are done with the books. We'll get those out of here. Okay, we're going to cut this can out down to that black line. I'm going to use my tin snips. Earlier I showed you a utility knife, but I started to use that, and that actually was a dent in the can. So my tin snips should be able to work around the top and make short work of this. Take this and discard it. We don't need that. What I'm left with is a somewhat regular looking lip. I'm going to set that aside and do the same thing to the other one. Okay, what I'm left with are the 2 bottoms of the cans that we're going to nestle onto one another. Rule of thumb when building one of these is the bigger can goes on bottom, big on the bottom. So that means this one will be our top, the smaller one. But the issue we're going to have, that everybody has, is that these are the same diameter. So how do you go ahead and make this go over the one below? Now, I've got a needle nose pliers that I'm just going to go down about a centimeter or so and twist. Back to try to fit it over. There we go. Success. Now I didn't push it tight yet. So what I learned was using a little thicker needle nose pliers. And now I'm trying to push this can slowly over the top. Probably going to get that book just to have a level surface to tap down on top without too much pressure. Get that book up there. Okay, I like the look of that. On top, we need to make the supply holes. Just make 3 or 4. That's how the fuel is going to get down into our penny stove. The grouping of the holes doesn't matter so much. It's just that the entire diameter has to be less than the diameter of a penny, because a penny is going to cover these. So with that, back up a little. Just going to drill some holes. Got my 4 holes there and a penny. Penny's going to sit on there. What this penny does in reality, it's a regulator. As whatever alcohol you put in here heats up, it's going to generate pressure. You don't want too much pressure to generate. You just want enough pressure to force the fumes out of all the holes we're going to drill around the perimeter. So if these flame jets, that's what's going to heat up your water, whatever you're trying to cook. If the pressure gets too much, it's just going to explode the can. You're going to make a mess and maybe get hurt. So what you want is the penny. The weight of that is going to keep the pressure just enough so it'll go out the flame jets. If the pressure builds too much, these 4 holes will lift the penny, and some of the pressure will be relieved through the top. So while you're cooking your water, you may hear a little rattling, and that's just the way it's designed. It's going to be the Newtonian, or the gravity pressure valve here sitting on top that is occasionally releasing excess pressure. That's why it's a penny stove. Next step, we're going to build our flame jets. Now the bottom of the can is designed perfectly for cooking stuff. It's got this nice ridge which adds strength. So we're not going to mess with that. We're going to use that to set our pot or whatever we're going to cook on it with. On the sides here, we're going to put in, I think, 8 to 16 flame jet holes. So I'm just going to eyeball it here right in the middle between this crease and the other crease. One there, and then eyeball it from the other side. One across there. So we're at 2. Rotate it 90 degrees. 3, 4. Okay, all 16 holes are drilled. Okay everybody, we're going to try this thing out. What I did, I put about a tablespoon of isopropyl alcohol in my penny stove. I'm standing by with a fire extinguisher. You never know. I've got a lighter here to ignite it. Some people use a little lighters. I don't like to get my hand that close to it. So carry a wand lighter, that's a little more safe. These things need to be pre-warmed, and you need to pre-warm the alcohol within because it'll start to boil away, and you want the vapor to come out these flame jet holes that we drilled. And so these need to be preheated. Some people preheat it like this. They'll put their regulator penny on the top, take a tiny bit of alcohol, and I'll pour this over the sink. I'll be right back. You might take a tiny bit of rubbing alcohol, put it on the top, and then they'll light that. So I'm going to turn off my direct light here and the overhead light and use my wand lighter to start this up. What you can't see right now is the blue flame. There you go. What that's doing right now should be heating up the isopropyl alcohol within, And as that heats up, hopefully it'll get the vapors to come out of the jet flame holes that we built. Part of the preheating is I'm going to use a teacup candle down below. Light that. We'll let that heat up the fuel within the can. We want that to heat up to build up the pressure so it'll vaporize and come out our holes we built on the side. Quite there. Okay, this is the big can. Took quite a bit of preheating to get it to light, and it's still not a self-sustaining flame. So I think there's probably a happy medium. Okay, this is the thick can. I finally got going after quite a bit of preheating. It took a long time to preheat, and I have an okay flame now, but it looks a little bit unsteady. I'm going to try one more can setup. This next one is going to be somewhere in between this size and this size. We'll measure them out and I'll be real careful. Okay, here we are. I've made two stoves. Each one has different challenges. The small stove on the left didn't have enough surface area between the top and the bottom to adequately seal all the points, so I was getting leaks along the side instead of through the jet holes on the top. The bigger one seems to be working fine now. It's been burning for about 5 minutes real steady, but it took about 10 minutes of preheat underneath. So I used a teacup candle, which worked okay. So I think the actual answer is somewhere in between. So I'm going to build one more, and it's going to be right between these sizes, and I think that one's going to be a perfect one. But as you can see, this one is lit. This one seems to be working, and it has been going for about 7 minutes now.